అందరికీ నమస్కారములు. సర్వేభ్యः నమస్కారः. Shubhodayam. Today is another good day that we are starting with a new topic on our traditional values and Sanatana Dharma in Mahabharatam by Dr. K. Karanam Nagaraja Rao Garu. This will be for another 5 classes starting from today. So far we have covered a lot of topics right from beginning, say Vedas, Vedangas, Dharmasastras, Upanishads, Darshanas, and we have Panchangam and Vedic mathematics, Sanatana Dharmam, and then Shodasa Samskaramudu, and is again very important topic now, which is little analyzing and then giving us a lot of information about our traditional values. So first we'll start with Vande Mataram, then we will have Prarthana, and then we will introduce the speaker to you. Then now let us start with Vande Mataram by Challa Chittibabu Garu.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malaya Jasitalam, Sasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Suprajyotsna Pulakitayaminim, Pullakusumita Drumadala Shobhinim, Suhasinim, Sumadhura Bhashinim, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram. Ananthan Garu, can you do Prarthana, please?
Hari Om, 1 minute meditation. Let us close our eyes. Just concentration on breathe. Sit erect, relax the body. Auto suggestion to yourself, our minds. No thought other than this class to be entertained. Om. 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 Om Gananantva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashunvannoti Visida Sadanam Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vajedirvajinivati Dhinam Avityavatu Vagdevyai Namaha Gurureva Gatir Gurumeva Bhaje Gurunaiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave Na Guroh Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru Jnananandamayan Devam Nirmalaspatikakrutim आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। नमस्कार।
Dhanyavadah Anantanji. Now let us request Lalita ji to introduce the speaker to all of you.
Sarvebhyah Namaskaraha. Today our speaker is Karanam Nagaraj Rao Garu. He is a retired professor from Alliance University, Bangalore. He has completed his masters both in political science and sociology, and he has also earned a PhD in management from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Hyderabad. He has an advanced diploma in Vedanta from Chinmaya International Foundation, a Kovida from Samskruti Bharati, and a yoga diploma from S. Vyasa University, Bangalore. And Karnam Nagaraj Rao Garu has published nearly 60 articles in peer-reviewed journals, including European Case Center and Sage journals. And he has also published 2 books. One is on management insights from motivational slokas, and the other one is on business ethics, that is caselets, and they are available online also. And his interest, basically his interest revolve around research in Itihasa literature, and his Mahabharata stories can be seen under his blog, unclekatha.com. And one can view his lectures both in English and Telugu. It's on YouTube also. And it's really a pleasure to all of us to have him here for the second time. All his interesting sessions are still etched in all our memories of Veda Samskruti Samiti and all the participants. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of Veda Samskruti Samiti and the second batch participants, all of us present here, and our Vice President also is there, Karnal Ji. We all welcome you on behalf of our President also, Akela Prabhakar Rao Garu. Please carry on with the session, sir. I hand over the podium to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavighnopashantaye Sadasiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Good morning to
You have muted, sir. You have muted yourself.
So all this time nothing was heard, sir.
Okay.
Shall I start once again then?
Yeah, you can start once again.
Yes,
You just
Yes, I was reciting
not much. Only good morning you said, and
okay. Now I'll start. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavighnopashantaye Sadasiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Good morning to every one of you. Good morning to the organizers. Prabhakar Rao garu, Saru, Prabhu Sir garu, all other persons, Vishalakshi madam, I know, and Lalita madam who introduced me, and all other persons who some persons I may be knowing and some persons I may not be knowing. And this is the second time I am coming to this forum. The first time, the first batch of Sanatana Dharma students also, I was asked to give a few lectures about Mahabharata. That are 5 lectures, I believe. Today, again another 5 lectures are going on. So here Mahabharatam. Today I am starting Mahabharatam. The last time when I took the classes, the structuring was, it was first time for me also, of course, for teaching Mahabharata for 5 days. So at the time I started with some Dharma Sushmas and all these things, and ultimately at the end of my class, the last class, I started giving about the purview of Mahabharata. What exactly is Mahabharata, like that? How many parvas are there and all these things. At the end only I gave. Today, because 5 classes, now because I know what is the structure of the course, I can think I can, what I would like to do in the another 5 days, today also is that maybe in the first class today, I'll be telling about the introduction about Mahabharata and also what is the introduction of Mahabharata, why Mahabharata should be learned. That is because whenever you begin to read something, even for that matter, even physics, chemistry, or whatever it may be, if you begin to read, what we have to know is that we should know why the subject has to be read, first of all. Just because it has some values for the purpose of Sanatana Dharma, or you are writing some examination, not like that. Because sometimes if you are writing, if you are listening something, or if you are learning something, you should know whether that has some value for your life or not. That is more important. So Mahabharata also, why we should read Mahabharata? Is there any values for Mahabharata? Because Mahabharata was written 5,000 years back, it was written. From now we are in the 21st century. Is it relevant for us or not? Why we should read it? This is one thing. If it is to be read, then why the book? Who wrote this book? And what is the content of this book? What exactly it convey to the people? And what is the bigness of this book? Is the book can be compared with any other book? Is it an Itihasa or is it a Purana? And why the structure of Mahabharata was written in that fashion? And then what are the names of different towns, who translated it, and all these things, continuously all these things, and ultimately a few tips about Mahabharata at the end. If we read Mahabharata, what we are going to get. That is also, this is the structure of today's lecture, maybe another 4 lectures. Purely I will be concentrating on not small minor things. Whose father is that man, whose mother is this man. These are the irrelevant things. Maybe what we would like to know is that what exactly is dharma. What is the dharma sushmata? How can you distinguish dharma from dharma sushmata? And then what is there in how Mahabharata has spelled out the dictums of Vedas, the dictums of itihasas and all this is because very purpose of these itihasas is that it is to propagate the ideas of Vedas only ultimately. So this is the reason we will be reading all this is maybe Dharma Sushmatas we will be reading. At the end of the class, we may be knowing that what is there in Mahabharata ultimately, whether it has relevance and how, if it is relevant, how we can tell other persons also. Because after learning something, my purpose is that you should be in a position to tell. The listeners also should be in a position to tell. Otherwise, the purpose of this Mahabharata entire story narration, so many persons have narrated from the beginning. Because starting from what is called Janame, Asthana, Vaishampayana, telling the story. From that time onwards, so many persons have told over the period of years. Still, we are telling the story. Why we should tell the story? You also should tell the story to other persons so that the message of Mahabharata should reach to all people. That is the idea ultimately, because it is if we learn something and keep the learning with ourselves, there may not be any value for it. Because what we need to do is that we need to propagate the ideas of Mahabharata to different persons. So many misconceptions of Mahabharata are there. Those misconceptions are to be dispelled. They have to be avoided. Because in the Mahabharata, we come across so many stories of Mahabharata which are actually put over Mahabharata by different persons according to our present day situations, our present day morals, our present day ethical values, and all these things are actually put over Mahabharata, and the stories are molded according to that fashion. All these things we need to learn what is there in Mahabharata and what is not there in Mahabharata. So because if you begin to read, very, very great things are there. Draupadi laughed at Duryodhana, that's not there in Mahabharata. Draupadi never laughed at Duryodhana in Mayasabha. And there are so many things of that nature are there. Duryodhana handing over Kangarajyam to Karna, which he was not having. He was not the king, and he was handing over the kingdom which he was not having to some other person. But in the films we see that Duryodhana was a great reformer. He was actually building up all castes. He was taking care of equally, and all these things we come across so many things. Shakuni is actually Prachanna Shatru of Duryodhana, not like that. It is not there in Mahabharata. All Maya Bazar is not there. Sesireka Parinayamasana is not there. Subhadra Swayamvaram is not there. Nothing is there. All these things are actually put over Mahabharata. Draupadi wanted to have some other person, sixth person as his wife. Those are so many misconceptions are there. He or she wanted to marry Karna. Nowhere it is there. All these things are not there. And Karna was aiming the bow, and at the time Sri Krishna put the chakra, Sudarshana chakra, and then Arjuna came and he won over Draupadi. All these things are not there in Mahabharata. So many misconceptions we have to remove from the mind. That is also there. If you remove all the things, we come to know what exactly is the real picture of Mahabharata. Ekalavya story for that matter. That is also to be analyzed and all these things. Maybe next class onwards we will be doing all those things. Today I will be giving the structure of Mahabharata and also why we should read Mahabharata after even 5,000 years of this writing. That is very important. I believe even in between also you can ask questions, or at the end. So suppose if the organizers want that the questions are to be asked only at the end, maybe another half an hour before, if they tell, maybe another, then at the time I can stop, because I have not kept the watch also here. Maybe I think 1.5 hour, 2 hours session is there. 1.5 hour, after 1.5 hour, if you can tell, sorry, time is getting over, miss, I'll stop there, and then other persons can ask the questions. That is also there.
We have a total 1.5 hour up to 8 o'clock.
Up to 8 o'clock. Then maybe some
till
20 minutes earlier you can give me a reminder, sir. That would be fine for me.
Yeah, till 7:45, you can discuss. After
Yes, sir.
that, if you can open the forum to participants, they will interact with you.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Okay. So let us come to the subject matter. Mahabharatam. No? Mahabharatam, why we should read Mahabharatam? That is, as I told you earlier, it is not for the purpose of the examination. It is for the purpose of learning our own, educating ourselves to the greater extent. That is the idea here. Here, I can't claim that I know full of Mahabharata and all this. That is also there. I may do some mistakes. That is also there. Maybe to that extent, because I have done research over Mahabharata for almost 5-6 years. I have done the research, published a few books on Mahabharata. I think I have little competency. With that humility, and I will be interacting with you. Why Mahabharata should be read? That is a question. The thing is that we come across there Lokika, that is called in the natural, normal, social living. Even now also there are people who will be invoking Mahabharata many times. We come across many stories, because nowadays particularly there are certain sections of the people of the earlier society. They were suppressing some other sections of the society. It is actually domination by one caste, other caste. These type of things we will be coming across, and at the same time we will also be coming across stories like Ekalavya. These type of stories also we come across. Here it is highlighted that the lower caste persons are suppressed by some people, particularly Drona story is of such nature only. And frequently they will be invoking Mahabharata. Why? Because why Mahabharata is being invoked, why Ramayana is being invoked, even by Jawaharlal Nehru University students, those type of persons also invoking the stories of Mahabharata, portraying some persons are bad persons, portraying some persons are good persons. These type of things are happening here, because our traditions, value systems, our what is called Samskruti, what we can call, or even some festivals, are all these things are having the roots in Mahabharata. Whatever that we come across, value systems, the dharma, adharma, and all this is whether we are following dharma or not, that is a different issue in the normal sense. But still, we will be invoking some stories of Mahabharata, and then we will be trying to interpret all these things. There are some people who invoke the stories, but again the wrong content of the story, and try to interpret the story according to their own wishes and will. Because it is a democratical situation wherein everybody is having the freedom of to express their own thoughts, opinions, and all this. Is the constitution has given that provision. Even if you question the Hindu gods, it is okay according to the Supreme Court or whoever it may be. They will be telling that it is fine because it is it's freedom of speech, expression is there, and all these things we come across. So in order to counter those things, those persons, if at all you want to counter those persons, you should know what is there in Mahabharata. Otherwise, what will happen? You can't, unless we know the Siddhanta or theory, you can't counter with other persons. Whatever story they are telling, you need to listen. You have to tell, no, this is not the story what you are telling, Baba, this is not the story. So the story is something different. You need to understand it. A few years back, also, people were portraying Ravana as a Brahmin. Ravana is not a Brahmin. Ravana is a Asura, and then because he was suppressed, he was a other caste persons like that. Subsequently, it was highlighted to them that no, he is also a Brahmin. He was doing all this nonsense. And then people could understand all these things going on like this. So that is why sometimes why we should read Mahabharata is that because it is being invoked even now also, and people are giving wrong directions. That is why we should know it. The second thing is that our traditional value systems and all these things are roots in Mahabharata. That is why also we should know it. Over and above, it is having all the things for all the types of people. That is why Mahabharata in the beginning itself, Veda has written down, Dharmecha, Arthecha, Kamecha, Mokshecha, Bhartarshava, Yadiha hasti tadyanyatra, Yanne hasti natat kvachit, which means that there are 4 Purusharthas. I think the section is already over for you. Purusharthas, then Shodasa Samskaras and all these things are already over. Purushartha is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So in this, all these things, all these matters, everything has been discussed in Mahabharata. So what is there in Mahabharata can be there in any other place, any other book for that matter. And if something is not there in Mahabharata pertaining to all these 4 subjects, those are not there anywhere in the world as a whole. That is how he has declared. Dharmecha, Arthecha, Kamecha, Mokshecha, Bhartarshava, Yadihi asti tadanyatra. Like that Mahabharata, it has been written down. So that is why it has a lot of values. It discusses Dharma, it discusses Rajaniti, it discusses Vedanta, it also discusses all other things, whatever may be Vyakarana, Kavya, name it, it is there in Mahabharata. If you want to write, many persons subsequently, after Mahabharata has been written down over a period of 5 years, many great poets have been influenced by the values of Mahabharata and they started writing their stories. Kalidasa stories, majority of the stories are from Mahabharata only again. Bhasa, many majority of the stories are from Mahabharata only. Even now also there are some persons who are writing fictions in Mahabharata. The fictions are also again based on the stories and storyline of Mahabharata. So Mahabharata has inspired so many persons over a period of years. It has been told, retold, and retold. It is coming on down the line. That is why the original Bharata is always important. Because there are sometimes there are some persons, maybe films are there. Films will be portraying Mahabharata in some way. Because their purpose of projecting the Mahabharata story is to gain some money only ultimately. Money is the ultimate criteria for them, making some material benefit out of that film. So what they will be doing is that according to their taste, they will be changing the storyline here and there, and they will be projecting the story. Fine. There are some Bhasa stories are there. He eulogized Karna, he eulogized Duryodhana and all these persons. At the same time, he was actually telling that there is some characters in Mahabharata, particularly Arjuna and all these persons, a little bad side. Good side, Karna. something of that nature, because he wanted to highlight like that. That is Kavya. Kavya people can write like that. The entire Kalida, this story of Dushyanta, Shakuntala, all this story has been retold by Kalidasa in a different fashion. Abhignana Shakuntalam. That Abhignana is not there in Mahabharata. Forgetting Shakuntala was not there in Mahabharata, but he has changed it. So that is fine. But when you are changing the line, sometimes what will happen is that some new wrong message also will be going to the public. So it is better to know the real story. It is also better to know the story that has been written down by great poets. And then we need to understand the Mahabharata from the right perspective. That is the reason why we need to read Mahabharata. This is the entire background of Mahabharata. When we do like that, then what exactly, where exactly Mahabharata is positioned in our scheme of structure of all these books? Now we are, let us come to the first stage. That is called Vedas. We are having 4 Vedas we talk about. After Vedas we are having Upanishads. We are having Isakya Katha Prashamunda Mandukya Titrikila. That will be going. Then after that we are having Itihasas, and then we are having Puranas. What are this? All these things, 4 things that we have to understand first of all, because in order to understand Mahabharata we say that Ramayana and Mahabharata, which come under the purview of Itihasa literature. Then Puranas are separate. Puranas are 18 Puranas are Madhvain Cheva, Vratrayam, Vachetushtayam, Matsya Purana, Markandeya Purana. Like that it is there, no? There is one popular shloka is there. Because that is not the subject matter. What are the 18 Puranas means? Some popular shloka is there. Similarly, we are having 4 Vedas we are having. Here, from the beginning, if you begin to see the structure of Sanatana Dharma, Vedas are meant for the elite people. Elite means in the sense those who can understand Vedas in a wider perspective. If you tell one thing, they can understand it. Satyam Vada, Veda tells. Dharmam Chara, it will tell. Then there are few people in the society as a whole, they can understand the real meaning of that one and they follow it. Suppose an ordinary person is there. An ordinary person who is not well versed with Vedas and all these things, he will just listen to it. Satyam Vada, fine. If it is not told, what will happen? Dharmam Chara, if Dharma is deviated, what will happen? Nothing. We don't know all these things. So here Vedas will be telling like a Prabhu Samhitas, what we can call. They will be telling something what we can call. They will be giving some directions. This is what I am going to tell you, follow it. Then all persons cannot understand it. Society is such that we are having vast number of people who don't even read the books, who can't understand the books. Then what to do? That is why what they did was that Veda Vyasa or Valmiki, whoever it may be, the Veda ideas should be known to all persons. Whatever that is there in the Veda should go to the level of the lowest level of the persons in the society. And what they thought is that they started writing Itihasas. Itihasa means Upanishads, of course, they have written. Upanishads is Vedanta, what we can call. Then comes what we can call Itihasa. Itihasa means Itihasa. There are 3 words are there, which means that it happened that, like that. It happened like that. Which means that it is happened. Ha means it without doubt. Without doubt it has happened. Without doubt it has happened means it is actually history. Can we call Itihasa as history? So there are some professors even now also argue that entire Mahabharata is a myth. It's not a myth, because what they tell is that how can gods come to the earth, mingle with the people? When God is coming here means it is a myth only. But there are periods in our own history or in our own charitra, the people, gods used to come because people were good at the time. When people were good, dharma was there and upon the earth. There is no question that God should not come here and talk with the human beings, meet with the human beings and all these things. That was a period until Dwapara Yuga. Until Dwapara Yuga, gods used to come down and they used to speak in person. Now subsequently in the Kali Yuga, what happened is that is not there, that is not there. We can't see God in physical form. That is called Savayava Devatas. We don't come across. We come across Devatas in the guise of some other human beings or some other things in that fashion only. So it is not a myth actually. Itiha asa means it happened like that. Puranas are something different. Puranas are the remote past things are elaborated in Puranas. What is the difference between Puranas and Itihasas? Means there is a slight difference is there. Puranas are something which are written down by some persons, which happened in the long past, for which they are not witness. The author is not the witness for those things which happened earlier. But Itihasa is not like that. When Vedavyasa wrote Mahabharata, he was a witness to Mahabharata and he was one of the actors of Mahabharata. He saw what was happening in Mahabharata at the time and he wrote down. So Itiha Asa, it happened like that, he has written down. Valmiki was also like that. Valmiki was there when Ramayana was going on. He was there he was a contemporary of Rama. He saw Rama, he visualized Rama and he started writing the story of Rama. It happened like that. So this is called what we can call Itihasa. Purana is not like that. Purana is, Matsya Purana is there, Markandeya Purana is there, and all those things nobody has seen. It is actually visualized and it has been written down. It has happened like that. So that Purana literature, what we have to do is that Purana literature, actually we have to say, just take whichever some meaning is there. Means we can't take whatever that has been written down as ultimate truth. But it is why that it is written like that means it is actually the entire storyline we need to take. And in that, what is important fact only we have to take out. And a small minute details you need to ignore only like that. The Puranas. Maybe sometimes what will happen is that who is greatest God? In a Skanda Purana, they tell that Skanda is the greatest person than even Vishnu or even Shiva. Maybe like that. Ganesha Purana, Ganesha is the greatest person. Why it is written like that is that suppose we organize a meeting. When we organize a meeting, there is a head of the person who is sitting on the chair. He is the president of that particular meeting. Then that particular person is highlighted because he is the greatest person on that day. Like that, Skanda Purana or Ganesha Purana or any other Purana, if you take into consideration, one god or one somebody is being highlighted to the extent of stating that he is the greatest person. Some persons, in the states, people will be arguing, my God is great, Shiva is great, Vishnu is less. No, it's not like that. We are having only one Brahma only, that is called a Nirakara, Sadguna Brahma, Nirakara Brahma, that is called Sachidananda Swarupa. Only one person is there and different persons are his aspects only. This has to be learned from over a period of years. So Purana literature is meant for lowest level of the people maybe, and but the values cannot be ignored because in that also we are having lot of values we can find. All the values only we have to take out. The rest of the things, the storyline is not so important. That is about Puranas. Itihasa is that it has happened like that. That is why it is more important than Purana literature. Itihasa, Mahabharata, Ramayana come under the purview of Itihasa. This is one aspect of Mahabharata. Then Mahabharata is containing of, it is actually, it is told that it is a Panchama Veda. Panchama Veda means it is the fifth Veda. After four Vedas, this is a Veda. If we read Mahabharata from the beginning to the end, maybe you may be knowing the contents of Vedas also you will be knowing here only. Whatever that has been touched upon in Vedas, all those things are touched upon in Mahabharata also. That is why it is called Panchama Veda. That Mahabharata itself, it has been written down in Adi Parva that when Vedavyasa completed the entire storyline, entire Mahabharata has been put on one side by Devatas, and Vedas, Dharma Shastras are put in the other side of the balance. Mahabharata is weighing much more. Which means that Mahatvat Bharavatvat iti Bharatam Uchyate, like that people tell. Mahatvat Bharavatvat. Mahatva is that it has the greatness, that it is containing the values, it has containing the truths that have been told by Vedas here also. Suppose Satyam Vada, one word is there in Vedas means that has been elaborated here, maybe through the story of Harishchandra. And it is a case study. Mahabharata is a big case study for whatever that has been written down in Vedas, whatever that has been written down in what is called Upanishads. Upanishads thoughts and Vedic thoughts, for that A case study has been built up in Mahabharata and Ramayana, and the message is purely given to the some sections of the people. Even that is also not understood. Then Puranas you have to go. That is the idea here. So here Mahatvat, Bharavatvat, it is Bharatam. What is Bharam? How great it, how weight it is there. You can compare it. Ramayana is consisting of some roughly 24,000 slokas we are having. The entire Greek literature, if you take into consideration, it is actually 1/4 of Mahabharata only. And Odyssey and Iliads and all these books, if you take into consideration, all those things are 1/4 of Mahabharata only. And the entire Shakespeare literature, if you take into consideration, the Shakespeare, complete works of Shakespeare, if you type in Google, you will be coming across this many books. The complete works of Mahabharata, take this many you will be having. Bhara means even physical weight also it is there. The internal weight also it is having. The content wise also it has a lot of value systems we are having. And Shakespeare literature may be talking only certain aspects only maybe. But here it's not like that. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, all these things are discussed here. Rajaniti is discussed. It has been discussed. Whatever what is not discussed is not there. Everything has been discussed there. Vyakarana, Chandas, all these things are there in Mahabharata. That is why Mahatva and Bharavatva, both it is there great. So that is the greatness of Mahabharata. Mahabharata is like that. And then it has been written down by Veda Vyasa. And initially he actually named it as Jayam. Original name of Mahabharata is Jayam. What is Jayam here? Jayam means if you read Mahabharata, you are victorious person both in internal life and external life. Ihaloka, Paraloka, and also internally and externally also you are going to be a victorious person. That is the idea of Jayam. Jayam has some significance. Why that Jayam word has been used? Because initially when we pronounce, we will start Mahabharata, we will be telling that Narayanam Namaskruti Naranchaiva Narvottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Jayam. The particular Bharatam is called Jayam. Jayam Mudirayet. We call it. Why Jayam he has put it means there is some meaning is there. Mahabharata, if you see the entire structure of Mahabharata, it is containing of 18 parvas we are having. Parva in Sanskrit, if you can understand, means it is called, translated as, it is Ichukanda. Ichukanda means you are having that sugar cane. Sugar cane will be consisting of small parts. Each, it is, everything is actually, maybe Ichukanda if you take, that is called a sugar cane, full sugar cane if you take, maybe the ground level will be so sweety. If you go top level like that, maybe in the final one may not be having that much rasam. It is not so sweet. But Pratiparva Rasodayam, like that here Mahabharata will be telling. Every small piece is also great value. Pratiparva Rasodayam, they call like that. Here this is called actually, this is 18 parvas we are having in Mahabharata. Each parva is the greatest one. Each parva we find some greatness. We will be coming across. So here 18 parvas are there. Then Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita is also there in Mahabharata. Sanat Sujatim is also there in Mahabharata. Vishnu Sahasranam is also there in Mahabharata. Ashwini Devata Stotram is also there in Mahabharata. Vidura Niti is there in Mahabharata. So many things are there in Mahabharata. Maybe nearly 1,000 Upakhyanas are there. 1,000 Upakhyanas means Nala Charitra, Ashtavakra Charitra. Then what we can call Garuda Charitra, Galavuni Charitra. Like that, there are so many things are there. So many kings, so many saints, so many sages, so many great personalities. Savitri Charitra, so many woman characters, Shandili Katha. Like that, we come across 1,000 stories other than the core content of Mahabharata, the war between Kauravas and Pandavas. Leave aside that their internal differences. These are the bigness. This is all these things are there. 1,000 Upakhyanas are also there in Mahabharata. So here, what happens is that so much of things has been embedded in Mahabharata. Initially, he thought that 18 parvas are there. And the 18 chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita. The 18 days the war has been fought, and 18 Akshohinis of soldiers participated, 11 on the side of Kauravas and 7 on the side of Akshohini. Definition is there again. How much Akshohinis and all these things? 7 Akshohinis and the Pandavas, put together 18 Akshohinis. The war was fought for 18 days. Dharmaraja ruled the country as a whole for 36 years. Again, 6 plus 3 is 9. The 9, 8 plus 1 is also 9. Like that, this is there. Jayam wording is also something connected to this 9 or 18 also. Because Kavarga, if you take into consideration, alphabets. Ka, Ka, Ga, Gha, Inya, Cha, Cha, Ja is there. Jaya, it is the 8th alphabet in the Vargiya Vyanjanas, what we can call. Vyanjanas we call, no? Achu, Hallu, what we can call in Telugu. Achu means it is called vowels. Vyanjanas. Kavargiya Vyanjanas are, this is the 8th alphabet is Ja. Then Avargiya Vyanjanas, if you take, Yara, La, Vasya, Shashaha, that is there. Ya is the first word. 8 and 1. Anka now, Vamato Gatihi, like that, there is a rule is there in Sanskrit, which means that if we talk about 64, what we tell? Chatush Shashti we call. First Chatush will be coming and Shashti will be coming later on. Here also 8 is Ja, 8th alphabet is Ja, and first alphabet of Avargiya Vyanjanas is Ya. 81 comes. If you Ankana Vamato Gatihi, if you reverse it, it is coming to 18. So that is why Jaya name has been put by Veda Vyasa like that. Some people actually will be telling like that. Initially, when Veda Vyasa wrote this Mahabharata, he wrote 8,000, roughly some 8,000 shlokas, he has put it. And 8,000 shlokas is called Jayam, he told. Subsequently, he elaborated while telling it to Vaishampayana, he told it to Vaishampayana initially. When he told it to Vaishampayana, who is Vaishampayana? He was having 4 main Sishyas. Veda Vyasa was having 4 main Sishyas. One among them was Vaishampayana. One person was actually taking care of Rigveda, one person Yajurveda, one person Samaveda, and one more person Atharvana Veda. You see, Vaishampayana happened to be a person who was taking care of Yajurveda. This Vaishampayana, he told the entire Mahabharata. Then while narrating, he elaborated as a 24,000. And also in that few matters are there. The few matters he asked him to elaborate it, because Vaishampayana is already a great personality. He knew all these value systems and all this is. He did not explain. Suppose one person, a great person, is explaining some concept to some other person who is also equally competent. He need not go to small minor things sometimes. He tells the broad structure. And while he was telling to some other person, he needs to elaborate it, because other person has to understand it. So lower level like that. So initially when Mahabharata was written down, the entire Mahabharata dictums, the value systems and all these things are put in one 8,000 shlokas only. That is called Jayam. Then Janamejaya, who is Janamejaya and all this is we come across in Mahabharata stories subsequently. Janamejaya is one of the persons who come in the line of Arjuna. Arjuna's son is Parishit. Arjuna's son is Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu's son is Parishit. Parishit's son is Janamejaya. By the time Janamejaya came into the picture as a king of that is called Hastinapura, by the time people have forgotten Mahabharata stories, what happened to great people have done, what Pandavas done, what Pandavas did and what Kauravas did, why they fought and all these things were details they were not knowing. Janamejaya asked Veda Vyasa, Mahanubhava, why don't you tell me the story of Mahabharata, which I wanted to listen. Then Veda Vyasa called Vaishampayana, and he asked, you narrate this story, because I told you the Jayam, I told you, no, you narrate the story to this person, he will understand it. Then Vaishampayana, because Janamejaya at the time is a elite king, and he was also learning all these Vedas, Puranas and all these things, he was well versed, because on those days the Kshatriya kings, they were knowing all these things. And then he told Janamejaya court, because all elite people were sitting there, and he told the entire Mahabharata in 24,000 shlokas. That is Bharatam, it became Bharatam. There, one gentleman, one person by name, one Suta person, his name is Romaharshana. He happened to be there in the court of Janamejaya, and he heard the entire story. Romaharshana. He was also well versed in all Shastras, Puranas, and all these things. He could understand the what is called a narrative line of Mahabharata, Bharatam. He was actually in search of people who can, who are receptive people, who wanted to learn something more about this Mahabharata. So he was going towards Naimisharanya. When he was going to Naimisharanya, he come across a group of rishis, great group of rishis, maybe more than 10,000 people, headed by one person by name Shaunaka. Shaunaka was a Kulapati. Kulapati means, Kulapati, normally now we translated Kulapati as a vice chancellor, head of the university, so we call him as a Kulapati. Even now also we call like that. Kulapati, the meaning of Kulapati is that a person who is having 10,000 shishyas at a time. 10,000 shishyas means teaching 2 persons, 3 persons itself is great task. If somebody comes for PhD for me, to me, I can guide 1 person, 2 persons, or maximum 3 persons. Even UGC, the regulating body is there. No, they have also put the restriction of 10. You can't give PhD teaching to more than 10 persons because your ability is like that. Because human ability is such that you can't teach more than 8 persons or 9 persons at a time. But here, Kulapati is a person who can teach 10,000 students at a time. To that extent, his knowledge is there. He was heeding that Naimisharanya at that time. He was doing Satrayaga. 10,000 students he was having. There are many other rishis were there. They were doing Satrayaga. It was going on for 2 years continuously. Which means that Yajna will be there throughout. Morning to evening, night and morning, it will be going on. Somebody or other person will be doing some Yajna continuously. It will be going on Naimisharanya. To that spot, this Romaharshana come to the place. When he comes to that place, then he was people were coming to him because he was a knowledgeable person, Romaharshana. Because there was no this feeling of what is called is a lesser caste and all this is were not there, because what we now tell, no, because our morals we are putting on Mahabharata, we will be telling that and Mahabharata people were ignored like that. Not like that. He was a Suta. Romaharshana was a Suta. Suta caste person. He came there and he was, because he was known for his knowledge. For that matter, Sanjaya was like that. Sanjaya was a Suta. And then what happened? He came there. When he came there, the people thronged towards him and they wanted to ask some stories. Tell us some stories. Then he was asking what story I wanted to tell. You wait for some time. Our leader is coming. That person, Kulapati is coming. The Kulapati came. He belonged to the Bhargava caste, Bhargava lineage. Initially, he wanted to test this person, whether he is having the knowledge or not. Then he started. You tell me the Charitra of Bhargava lineage. Then he told the entire Bhargava lineage. The Parashurama, Jamadagni, that entire story structure. Shavana, the storyline. He was satisfied. Then he asked, now tell me the Bharatam. Then he started telling the story, because whatever that has been put in 24,000 shlokas, that has been elaborated much more, and he was telling the story for 2 years continuously. He was telling, maybe whenever these persons were doing yajnas and yagas and come outside, they will be having a little time. Then in a little time period, this man was covering the entire story. He was sitting there all the time. Whenever they come here for some leisure, now when we go to offices, what we do, some little 10 time is there, we'll go out for coffee and chit chat like that. Those persons used to come and sit here for learning. That is the greatness of those days, no? Because normally out of the way I'm telling sometimes how people were spending their times in the olden days. Pratah kale stri prasangena, madhyahne dhyuta prasangitam, ratro chora prasangena, dhiro gacchati kalatam, like that people tell. Here means the person who is having the greatest knowledge. The persons normally what they will be doing, how they were spending their time is that Pratah kale stri prasangena, they will be talking about girls. Madhyahne Dhyuta Prasangam, they will be talking about what we can call gambling. Dhyuta means gambling only, no? Dhyuta Prasangam. Ratro Chora Prasangena. In the night times, what they will be doing is that they will be discussing how to steal these type of things. Stealing. Chora Prasangena. Dhiro Gachati Kalatam, they will be spending their time. How to understand this story? Yes, the story is a person who, a Kavi, he has written this, whoever has written this, we don't know. But Pratah Kala Stri Prasangena means the character Stri, Sita, around the Stri, Sita only, the entire story line narrative of Ramayana has been constructed. So Sri Prasangena means they will be discussing Ramayana. Madhyahane Jyota Prasangitam. In the afternoon, they will be spending their time in discussing storyline of Mahabharata. Ratro Chora Prasangena. They will in the night time they will be discussing Mahabhagavatam. Krishna is happened to be a greatest Chora people call, no? Maybe in that way. Figuratively he has written down. Maybe that is somehow people were spending their time reading these type of books only all the time. Ramayana in the morning, afternoon Mahabharata, and evening they will be reading this Mahabhagavatam. Going on like this. So here also same thing. So what happened is that they were learning. These persons asked the Roma Harshana to tell the stories, and he started. In between, little time is also there. They were not wasting the time in tea, coffee, and all these things. They were asking this Roma Harshana to tell the story of Bharatam. He elaborated the story, and that has come to 1 lakh shlokas. 1 lakh shlokas. That is Mahatvat Bharavatvat iti Bharatam. So when Ramayana is 24,000 shlokas, Mahabharatam is 1 lakh shlokas we are having. And over and above, because in Mahabharata, not much about Sri Krishna was discussed. That is why Hari Vamsha, one more story was written down, and that is Sakila Parva, what we can call. That is also part and parcel of Mahabharata. If we put that also, Mahabharata shlokas is coming to the tune of 1,25,000 shlokas we are having in Mahabharata. That is called Mahatvat Bharavatvat iti Bharatam Uchyate. That is how Mahabharata was written down. It is also called Jaim. It is also called Panchama Veda. It is the 5th Veda of Mahabharata. And it is to be understood even Mahabharata itself. Veda Vyasa he himself has told that it has to be understood by what is called Viveka, discriminative knowledge. That is why some persons have told subsequently that Bhaktya Bhagavatam Gneyam. Bhaktya Bhagavatam Gneyam. Yuktya Mahabharatam, like that. Yukti. If you want to understand Bhagavatam, you should have the great devotion towards God. You can't try to interpret Mahabhagavatam stories from the Lokika angle. Krishna is having 16,000 wives. That doesn't mean that when people will be arguing, present day society, people will be arguing, it is wrong, something wrong, what he has done is something wrong, he is doing chora, vritti, and all these things. It's not like that. That has to be understood from the Adhyatmika sense. We have to understand it. That is why Bhaktya Bhagavatam name. Yuktya. Because by discriminative intellect, knowledge, and all these things, you need to know what is exactly is written down, what is behind the lines of the story, what has been exactly pronounced in the story, what is the Rajaniti here, and all these things. Yuktya, you should know Mahabharata. That is that is a Mahabharata. This entire storyline, that is something different. This is something different. It has to be learned. So this is a Mahabharata structure. Who wrote this Mahabharata and how many days Mahabharata took place? 1 lakh shlokas writing is not a small task. Mahabharata actually, when the Shishupala Vada happened, in between Mahabharata we come across all this story. And then Mahabharata war started. Mahabharata war started at the time. Dhritarashtra was lamenting after the fall of Bhishma. Vedavyasa comes, consoles him, says that whatever has to happen will be happened. Anyway, whatever you have done, you have already done. I will go back now. And I will be coming back. I will be highlighting your stories, all your stories, so that your stories will be remembered by the future generations of the people. Like that he tells, and he goes out. And Mahabharata took place. War happened and everything. 36 years he ruled and all these things. So he visualized the entire story, structure in his mind himself. And maybe at the end of exact date we too don't know. At the end of Mahabharata war or at the end of Dharmaraja's rule, Swargarohana and all these things. Maybe at that particular spot, Vedavyasa wanted to put it in paper. He was having everything in the scheme of Mahabharata, entire thing, because itihasa, he saw it. He was a witness for the story. He wanted to write it. But then he approached Brahmadeva and he was asking Brahmadeva, please give me a person who is a stenographer type of person. I will be telling and he will be writing down. Then he asked him how Ganapati is there. You ask him. Ganapati was invited. Ganapati came there. Ganapati is a very busy man, because whenever we do small functions also, Ganapati will be invoking Ganapati. Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum Sasivarnam. He is a Vignahartra. He has to be there in for each and every function. He doesn't have time. He was ready, no, I can't sit continuously like that. What he was putting a condition to Veda Vyasa. What is the condition? Condition is that you need to tell the story continuously. If you stop the story at any point of time, I will stop my pen and go away. I will be writing. From now onwards, I will be writing. You need to tell the story completely. Then Veda Vyasa thought Veda Vyasa is a Paramatma Swarupa, Vishnu Swarupa. He was a great person. He told, okay, Mahaganapati, no problem. You write, but I will be putting a condition to you. The condition is that you should understand the shloka and then only you should write. If you don't understand it, you have to stop for some time. You have to understand it, then you have to write it. Ganapati told, oh, okay, no problem, because he is a, what is called, he was a god of knowledge, you know. He told, okay, I will write like that. Ganapati thought it is okay. He started writing. But what happened is that Veda Vyasa, whenever he wanted to write something great, few shlokas are to be written down. At the time, he used to put a very difficult shloka at one point of time, which will be having 3-4 meanings at the same time. And he will put this particular shloka. And then sometimes Ganapati has to think over that particular shloka for a few minutes or few maybe hours, we don't know. He has to understand it and then he has to write. So by the time he understood, Veda Vyasa could make out another 800 shlokas, 900 shlokas in his mind, and he was continuously telling. It went on like that. The whatever shlokas, the difficult shlokas, what he has put is called Grantha Grandhi even now also. There are 8,800 such shlokas are there in Mahabharata. The 8,800 shlokas are very difficult to understand, people tell. Each person will be commenting on this each shloka and in his own perspective they will be telling. Because sometimes some shloka will be there. The shloka will be having some Mlecha Bhasha also will be there, some Sanskrit also will be there, some colloquial tune also will be there. And the entire thing is put in one shloka. And which will be having 2 different meanings or 3 different meanings for 3 different persons at the same time. So those type of things, 8,800 are there in Mahabharata. Those are Mahabharata where Ganesha has written this story, people tell. So the story that has been written down by Veda Vyasa, that is called, visualized by Mahabharata, Veda Vyasa and written down by Ganapati, has come to the stage of Janamejaya court. At Janamejaya court, initially the listeners were Janamejaya and his ministers. Subsequently, Vaisampayana told that whatever has been told by Vaisampayana has been heard by Romaharshana, and Romaharshana came to Naimisharanya and he narrated the entire story. Why Naimisharanya? Because this great story cannot be told in the states. It has to be told at some place where there should be some sanctity should be there. Because whenever you tell a great thing, the sanctity of the place is also important. And Naimisharanyam is also a place which is having a lot of cultural value, significance we are having. What is the cultural values? Mahabhagavata, we come across a story about Naimisharanya. Naimisharanya, what they tell is that on one occasion, Mahabharata was over and the Kali Yuga started. All rishis gathered together and they wanted to know, they wanted to do some tapas. But all places are, by the time, they felt that all places are contaminated because of the Kali Yuga. Kali has entered the place. So they wanted to know one place where they can do meditation with great devotion. They went to Brahma. They were asking Brahmadeva, Swamiji, we want you show us some place where we can sit. Because other places we can't meditate because it is not the proper place for us to meditate great things. Then he told, okay, he created a visualized and he created a what is called a chakram. Chakram means a wheel. He created a wheel. For that a spoke was there. He told this will be running all the lokas wherever it falls. That is a good place for you, like that. Then it was going on like that. It went on to all the field of us, and ultimately it came to the place of Naimisharanya. When it came to the place of Naimisharanya, the spoke has broken down. Axle, what we can call axle or spoke, whatever it may be. Anyway, the wheel has fallen down. That spoke is called a nemi in Sanskrit, nemi. Because the nemi has fallen in that place, it is called a naimi subsequently, and it has become naimisha aranya. Aranya is a forest, naimisha aranya. So this is a place, it is a so sacred place that even now also traditions, we believe that because traditional values of Mahabharata only we are telling, because tradition says that even now also people have to visit Naimisharanya in their lifetime. Go there, sit for some time, do meditation and come back, because this is the place where the great story of Mahabharata was told. Even now also you come across any vratam we call Satyanarayana vratam or any other vratam, Vinayaka vratam or Sankashtahara Chaturthi vratam, whatever vratam we tell, no, at the time we will be telling, initially we will be talking Suta Puranikuntu, Shaunaka Adi Maharshal, like that we will be telling Shaunaka Adi Maharshal. They have seen all those persons. He started telling in the Naimisharanya, Rishis were there, and then one person came and he told the entire Vratam. So all these Vratam stories, lines, and all these things have started in that place only. Because of this reason, Naimisharanya is the greatest important place we are having. In this Naimisharanya, when Shaunaka was sitting there, he is a Kulapati who can teach 10,000 students at the time. To the extent knowledge he was having, that person and his Sishyas, they listened this story and they started propagating this story. It was going on, it is spreading like that. Now we are having so many persons, we are having Pravasana Kartas, we are having those persons are even now also they are teaching Mahabharata value systems and all this is. There are some persons who took out the knowledge of Mahabharata and put it in management perspective. There are some persons who put it from the Niti perspective. Some persons have taken the storyline and used the storyline for the purpose of dance, art and all these things. Art structures and all these persons, they have used the storyline. Like that Mahabharata, somewhere other way it has internally it is actually there in our system itself. Recently I went to Orissa, there Pippali on a small village is there, small village art is there, and our village art also they have depicted the storyline of Mahabharata again. So they like that Mahabharata is in the garland of flowers, like one thread is there, no, like that the thread of Mahabharata is there in the entire structure of our values, systems, traditions, values, and all this is there. Then what exactly is written down in Mahabharata? That we should know, because we know where it has been taught, who told the story, and what is the greatness of Mahabharata. And afterwards, we should know what is the content of Mahabharata. The content of Mahabharata is also very important. It is consisting of 18 parvas, I told. What does each parva portray? I think I can share the screen. I have put one small slide. I have put it. Let me try. If it is a shareable means, I can share this also. I will share. Nah, I think if you can see, I believe. Let us see. This is story content. Here we are having 18 parvas, no? Because loosely I have written down. Much more is there here. We are having the first parva, what we can call. Everybody is seeing or not seeing?
We are seeing.
We are seeing, no? Adi parva Mahabharata. Adi parva, Adi means beginning. Now, how Mahabharata came to be narrated by Sauti means that Ugrashava, Romaharshana's son Ugrashava, Suta person. He was there in the Naimisharanya. There are some Rishis were assembled. That is called, headed by Kulapati, Shaunaka. And he was narrating the story to Janamejaya. The history of Bharata race, Bhrigu race and all these things. And over and above, we are having the birth of Pandavas. Here only we come across the birth of Kauravas, come across. We come across the story of Dushyanta, Shakuntala and all these things. Bharata Vamsha, how Bharata Desha has been called as Bharata Desha. This particular country has been named as Bharata Desha. That storyline we come across. Then we come across the plot that is there, Mahabharata, Bhima, Duryodhana and all these persons putting poison to Bhima, and then they try to destroy Pandavas in Lakshagruha. These storylines, then Bhima killing Hidimbasura, Bhima killing Bakasura, and then going to the court of Drupada, defeating of Drupada, that is also there. Then Draupadi Swayamvaram is there. Then the storyline goes on like this. All this is there in Adi Parva only we come across. There are some stories which we come across about the greatness of Guru Parampara and all these things we come across. The Ashwini Devata Stotra also we come across in Adi Parva only we come across. This is called the structure of Adi Parva. Then Adi Parva, once it is over, then Adi Parva we also come across the game of dice. There will be, no, not game of dice, it comes in Sabha Parva. Adi Parva, all these things will be coming up. Then Khandava Dahana was a last event that we come across in Adi Parva. Khandava Dahana is the destruction of the Khandava Vanam and then the building up of Indraprastha. That is how the story goes up to Adi Parva. By the time Dharmaraja was a Yuvaraja, and then that was the story of Adi Parva. Then coming across to Sabha Parva, we come across, Sabha means it is assembly. We come to know the discussion was there between Narada and also Dharmaraja, where Dharmaraja was asking, Maya has constructed this great Sabha for me. This is Maya Sabha. Is there any Sabha in the world which can equal to the magnitude of this Sabha? He was asking. Then Narada was discussing the Sabhas of all the great persons, that is called Varuna Sabha, Indra Sabha, Brahma Sabha, Vishnu Sabha. Like that he was discussing. Where exactly, what are these Sabhas? Who will be going to those places? Which type of punyam we have to do in order to reach to that level? He was discussing all these Sabhas. Why he was telling all these stories was to negate the ego of Dharmaraja. Dharmaraja and other Pandavas was thinking that they were thinking that this is the greatest Sabha among the world. It's not like that. There are many great Sabhas are there. This is maybe the great one in Boloka. Like that he narrated the entire story. Ultimately he says that yours is also a great one, which is there in as far as it restricted to Boloka. The story is, it is named as Sabha Parva because all events took place in Sabha only. Sabha means the game of dice took place in the Sabha only. Duryodhana Sabha it took place. Duryodhana Dhritarashtra Sabha it took place. Where eventually Pandavas are defeated. Pandavas are defeated in the game of dice and they had to go to the forest. This entire story structure is there in Sabha Parva. And then in the Sabha Parva we also come across Dharmaraja performing Rajasuya Yaga, where Shishupala was destroyed. Then the game of dice, Jutam. Then they were defeated. This is called Sabha Parva. Then we come across the third Parva is called Vana Parva. It is one of the greatest Parvas because it's the biggest, one of the biggest Parvas, like Shanti Parva. Vana Parva discusses actually the 12 years of exile of Pandavas into the forest. When they went into the forest, what they did? They were not doing what is called, they were not weeping continuously. What they were doing was that they were actually enhancing their own knowledge in all the fields, maybe spiritually and also physically also. Arjuna went out, he learned Pashupatastra and all these things. He got Pashupatastra from Ishvara. Then he went into the court of Indra. He was there in heaven for 5 years physically. He was there in heaven for 5 years. He was there. At the time, Pandavas, what they did was actually they were sitting with different types of great persons. Different types of great persons they were sitting. And among them, Markandeya was the greatest person. All these sages were telling different stories because every time Dharmaraja was asking, in this world, are we the only person suffering like this? Then he was telling, no, it's not like that. There are many other persons who suffer like you. Or maybe greater suffering. Naladamayanti Charitra, he tells. Then he will be enlightening the stories of Dharma Vyada. He will be enlightening the stories of Ashtavakra. He will be telling some other stories, great personalities. Why he was telling the story? Again, the purpose is same. Purpose is that each story is a case study from which you can learn something. You believe it or not, at the end of Vanaparva, we will come across Yaksha Prasnas. I don't know whether Yaksha Prasnas are over for you or not. I don't know. Yaksha Prasnas are beautiful, what is called one place where that Yaksha was asking different difficult questions to Dharmaraja. Because Dharmaraja has gone through the case studies, all these case studies. Many Upakyanas are there in Vanaparva. He heard all these things and he has digested all the stories. Digested all the stories means not the story content, please. The hidden dharma sushmata in each and every story he has understood. And because of this reason, he could answer all the questions of Yaksha Prasnas. Then eventually they came out. That is called Vanaparva. The ending of Vanaparva, we come across Yaksha Prasnas. Then we come across Virata Parva. Virata Parva is 1 year of exile, where Pandavas were staying in the Virata Asthana, where the difficulty is that they should not identify themselves as Pandavas. At the same time, they are following the Sevaka Vritti. Virata was the king. These persons are servants there. The servants, how the servants should behave. The entire theme of Virata Parva is how servants have to behave with the. Now, in the modern terminology, if you say the boss, are they the king? When the king is there, how the people have to behave with those persons. That is the entire thing has been structured in that place. There it is also called, it is a Nara Narayana storyline. No, entire Mahabharata is actually Nara is highlighted in this Vanaparva, not Virata Parva, where the victory of Nara over Kauravas. Single-handedly, Arjuna defeats all the Kauravas at a time. So that is the reason why it is called Narayana Parva also people call it. Narayan, then Nara Parva also they call it. Nara, the greatness of Nara has been discussed. Then we come across Udyoga Parva, it is a Narayana Parva, what we can call. Here, this is the place where Mahabharata, the essence of Mahabharata is there in Udyoga Parva, people tell. Because it is the place where Krishna, resplendence, with a resplendent note, he will be coming to the place of Duryodhana, and then he will be in the Dhritarashtra court, and he will be trying to patch up a peace between Pandavas and Kauravas. That entire storyline, Sri Krishna Rayabaram or Dautyam, what we can call, that entire thing takes place in Udyoga Parva. We come across this storyline. Then we come across, this is the 5th book. After this 5th book, we come across Bhishma Parva. The war starts. Then Bhishma was the commander in general. Then in his time, what has happened? How the war was fought? And there are so many other stories are also there in between. How Bhishma was defeated. This structure entire thing, Bhishma Parva. Then we come across Drona Parva. The battle continues, and Drona, many warriors fell down in the during the 5-day tenure of Drona. That we come across Gatotkacha fallen, Abhimanyu fallen, like that. So many Drupada fallen. Like this, all these things we come across Drona Parva. Then Karna was there for 1.5 day. Karna Parva. There we come across how Karna was defeated and all these things. And then Shalya Parva. Shalya was there for half day only as a commandant in charge of Kauravas. In that day only, even Duryodhana was fallen down. Bhima killed him. That story structure is there in Shalya Parva. And then we come across Sauptika Parva, the book of the sleeping warriors they have translated. Here actually all Upapandavas and all remaining soldiers of Pandava side were killed by Ashwatthama, Krupacharya and Kritavarma. They came there and they killed all these persons. There are only 7 persons who were remaining on the Pandava side and 3 persons on the Kaurava side. Pandava side, Satyaki and Krishna, and other 5 Pandavas like that. And there, this Ashwatthama, Kritavarma, and also Yuyutsu and some other persons are there. And there, those persons were surviving at the end of the Mahabharata, where all persons died. Why I am telling is that so less number of people is that French Revolution, when we begin to read the French Revolution, we come across with a great statement. French Revolution, a mission called guillotine was invented. When the guillotine was invented, with the guillotine, the help of the guillotine, they started destroying all the people. So ultimately, there was only one man survived. And the name I could not immediately remember. He was interviewed by the person subsequently. What is the greatness of French war? He was telling that I have survived. All other persons got killed. But like that here also, at the end of Mahabharata war, all persons were destroyed. Only few persons were remaining. That is called Sauptika Parva. Then Stree Parva. Then Gandhari cursing Krishna, and the lamentations of all the women, Guru Pandavas, lamenting over that dead bodies. That entire storyline is called in Stree Parva. We come across Draupadi giving Gandhari giving a curse to Krishna, and Krishna eventually what he has told, that is called Stree Parva. We come across. Then Shanti Parva. It is actually Yudhishthira comes to the place of, he comes to know that Karna is his brother. When he comes to know that he could not control his what is called anger, and also what is called he was depressed, so much depressed that he was not willing to accept the kingdom throne. Many persons came to him, and they were trying to tell him many things. He would accept the throne, something of that nature, but he was refusing. I don't want to come to the throne because I have killed my own brother, like that. Ultimately, Vedavyasa took him to the place of Bhishma, and Bhishma started telling him many dharma shastras, niti, all this is, and he tried to convince what is Dharmaraja. That is entire storyline is called Shanti Parva. Is supposed to be one of the biggest books again. Vanaparva, like Vanaparva only. It is also like, it is a very biggest book. Then Anushasnik Parva is also same thing. In the Anushasnik Parva only we come across Vishnu Sahasranama, we come across. Bhishma was narrating, and Krishna, this Dharmaraja and Pandavas were listening to all the Rajanitis and different other stories also. Again here we come across. Then Ashwamedha Parva. Then here Ashwamedha Parva we come across. Dharmaraja ultimately accepted the crown, and he became the king of Chakravarti of that particular spot. From that time onwards, Yudhishthira Yuga started. Normally, we come across Yugas when we tell Shaka Yuga and also Vikrama era we will be talking. Shaka era and Vikrama era will be talking. There are some traditional people who even now also they follow Yudhishthira Yuga, they call. And, we call only Shaka Samvatsare. While telling our Sankalpa, we will be telling Shaka Samvatsare. Bharata Varshe, Bharata Kande, like that we will be telling. But Shaka's era started in 70-80 AD. But here this was started in 5036 BC. It started. Yudhishthira Shaka. Yudhishthira era started. Then Arjuna went on and he defeated all the persons. Maybe you believe it or not. What is the length and breadth of the world was conquered at that time was described here in this also, and also Rajasuya also. They conquered up to Russia and China and Russia and even beyond. And this side, European side, they conquered up to Iran, Iraq they conquered. In the southern side, they went up to tip of the Kanyakumari, and also, and Vivishna was ruling at the time, people tell. When Sahadeva went to conquer the southern tip of the country, he sent Ghatotkacha when initially at that time Rajasuyaga itself. They conquered Ceylon also. Vibhishana also agreed to the what is called greatness of Dharmaraja, and he sent all his Ratnara, Vaiduryas and all these things here like that. And the eastern side they went up to Myanmar and beyond that Maldives. Up to that place they went and they defeated all those places. The extent of our kingdom was such that it is that very huge empire. When Dharmaraja was conducting Rajasuya Yaga, when even in Adiparva, at that time people across the world came there. They were waiting in the queue to pay tributes to Dharmaraja, like that it has been described. And all those kings were again defeated by Arjuna. Here also Ashwamedha Parva also we come across. All those persons were subdued, and Dharmaraja was a Chakravarti for the world as a whole, we get maybe at that time. And eventually Ashrama Vasa Parva is there, where death of Dhritarashtra takes place. Gandhari, Kunti and all those persons went to the forest. In the forest fire, they were scorched to death. The Dhritarashtra, then Gandhari, Kunti, all those persons were scorched to death in the flames of that the flames of the forest. They died there. And then Sanjaya went to Himalayas, great Himalayas, and that is called Ashrama Vasa Parva. And then Mausala Parva is the Parva wherein the fighting between Yadavas among themselves, and then all the destruction of all Yadavas except Krishna. Krishna attained Nirvana also here only. Nirvana means he was, that entire story structure is there again. That is the story of the end of Krishna, Balarama, and also all Yadavas that also we come across in this story. The physical mortals of Krishna were remaining there. And like that, Arjuna goes there and does the samskaras and all these things we come across in Mausala Parva. And then again we come across Mahaprasthanika Parva, Mahaprasthanika Parva, because Dharmaraja, after seeing all these things, he got disturbed, and Krishna is also not there. So what he does is that he goes out to Swargaroha for the particular spot where they were accompanied by all these persons. Swargaroha Parva, Mahaprasthanik Parva, they were going, and then Swargaroha Parva is the place where this the entire thing happened. This is the entire structure of Mahabharata. This entire structure of Mahabharata, I will stop sharing here. And then entire structure of the story. And again, if you read the Mahabharata story in a proper perspective, it starts with the story of a dog. It ends with the story of the dog. You believe it or not, the very first story in Mahabharata is the story of Sarameyam, one dog is there. Briefly, I will be telling, because I think time is there, no sir? I cannot put that.
Yeah, no, time is up for questions.
Maybe
Time is up for questions.
briefly in
Yeah.
2 minutes only I will complete this story, because if it will complete the story, this will be some significance will be there. Initially, there was a dog. The dog is a Sarameyam that was beaten up by Janamejaya people for unknown reasons. No reason was there, unnecessarily. So the dog was reprimanded. Then the dog's mother came, fought, it asked Janamejaya, it questions the authority of Janamejaya, why you have done like that? And the first story of Mahabharata, the dog was reprimanded. And at the end of the story, we come across one more dog. The dog was following Dharmaraja up to the Swargaroha. And then the dog was given a lot of prominence. The Dharmaraja was not willing to go to the court, what is called Swargaloka, without the dog, because it was following. Followers, you cannot leave followers. That is why he was telling that I can't leave this dog because it has been my follower. Because my follower I have to take care of. That is a Kshatriya Dharma, like that he talks and he was trying to take. Here, if you read the first dog, when it was reprimanded and it was taken in the lower sense, the second, at the end of the time, the lowest of the lower person was also given lot of prominence. What is the significance of these two stories is that if you read the entire Mahabharata from the beginning to the end, even though you will be having doing some mistakes in the beginning, maybe unnecessarily you are doing some nonsense with some persons, you attain that level of maturity wherein you will be treating all persons as equals. You treat every person, what we can call the Tattva of Brahma, and you will be treating each and every person in a greater perspective. Like that, maybe why these two dog stories are structured in Mahabharata, we don't know. Maybe this is a scheme of things, we don't know. But the first dog story, not at all required in Mahabharata, that has been put in Mahabharata. And at the end, the story of Dharmaraja taking the dog is also there. The stories culminate. Maybe this is the idea is that even though you are not a dharmic person, even though you are not you don't have much knowledge, if you read the entire Mahabharata, you will become an enlightened person wherein Shunishaiva Shwapakecha Pandita Samadarshanaha, like that, to that stage you reach. That is the idea of Mahabharata. Please now questions, please, because there is no time.
Yeah. Raise your hands, those who want to ask questions. Yeah, Gupta Garu, unmute yourself.
Namaskar Mahoday. We are very much enlightened about the Mahabharata and how it got distorted. Are we able to identify the original 8,000 slokas even today?
Yes, sir.
Was there any distortion from original slokas to Janmedaya
Yes,
Mahabharata
yes,
now?
JM itself is there, a separate book is there, it is available. It is there.
We can purchase it. It is available for purchasing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can take it. JM is there. JM is 8,000 slokas. It is taken out. One Pandit, I can tell you the name of the person also. He has actually delineated the 8,000 slokas he has taken out. But now whatever book we can see in Mahabharata, the full structure of Mahabharata only we come across. But there are some scholars who have taken out those 8,000 slokas and has put it in a separate place. 8,000 slokas. What is the original slokas of Mahabharata? Even Adi Parva itself, it is mentioned. It is 8,000 slokas I have written down like that. Veda Vyasa tells 8,000 slokas. What exactly are those 8,000 slokas? Or subsequently, some scholars have taken out those 8,000 slokas. This is JM, they told.
Sir, TTD, okay, na, sir? TTD publications.
TTD publications, I don't think it is available, sir. This is actually written down by traditional scholars. Maybe in 1930s, 1920s, some scholars have taken it out. And that is 8,000 slokas. This is 8,000 slokas. Grantha is also same thing, that 8,800 slokas are there. No, they are also delineated by some persons and put it in some place like that.
Okay.
And maybe Amazon and all this, whether they are available or not, I don't know. But they have been taken out, removed, and they have put in some other place like that. It is here.
Shankarai Garu.
ఒకటి క్వశ్చన్ సార్, ఇప్పుడు వినాయకుడు రాసింది ఆల్ 1 lakh శ్లోకాసా లేకపోతే 8,000 శ్లోకాసా?
That we too don't know, sir, because it is actually there is nothing is mentioned specifically whether he has written 8,000 slokas or 1 lakh slokas. It is not mentioned, but traditionally people feel that it is actually whatever that has been visualized by, because he has written down the entire structure, entire Mahabharata he has written down. But thing is that at the time of narrating, because need not be told, the entire thing need not be told, he told Vaisampayana only 8,000. Vaisampayana actually he read the original one, and then because while telling Vaisampayana orally he told 8,000. Vaisampayana was knowing the entire structure of Mahabharata, and then so he narrated it into 24,000 to Janamejaya. And this person was also knowing the original version, so he narrated the entire one like that. So maybe that more all 1 lakh stories must have been written down like that, only people feel. Because it happened long past, no evidences and all these things. People believe that it all 1 lakh stories are written down by Veda Vyasa, because it is a 3 years program. 3 years, because 8,000 slokas means 3 years is not required. 1 lakh stories, 1 lakh slokas were written down in 3 years. Because when it was translated into English, Kesari Ganguly, first person who translated Mahabharata and entire thing in English, it took 13 years to translate it alone. Translation itself took 13 years. That was the hugeness of Mahabharata.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
ఓకే, అద్దేపల్లి గారు.
Namaste, Guruji.
Sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It has been such in a simple language, you have explained very, very effectively. And in a sequential form, you have given in a nutshell the overview of Mahabharata. It was very nice hearing. Interest is generated now to learn more about it. Actually, I did hear a bit of Mahabharata from our great Malladi Chandrasekhar Shastri garu in YouTube, which is very, very effectively told. But then in a sequential form, in a nutshell, you have thrown very good information to all of us. Thank you very much, sir. We hope to see you and hear you. Thank you so much.
ఓకే, సుబ్రహ్మణ్యం గారు.
Sir, one more question, sir.
ఓకే, సుబ్రహ్మణ్యం గారు.
Pranam Mahoday. Initially, you told that this is itihasa. This is exactly how this has happened. But in the original version, 8,000 slokas was there, and when 24,000 was told, obviously it was added by a person who was not on the field. Then it became 1 lakh. So, to what extent we can infer this itihasa state to all the entirety of the Mahabharata that is in our hands right now?
But here, what I believe, or what we can presume is that 1 lakh story, 1 lakh slokas were there, because Vedavyasa himself was a great scholar. That is why he need not tell, Vedavyasa need not tell all these things, because his book is there, written by Ganapati and told by Vedavyasa. While narrating, because he need not narrate each and every sloka, he narrated 24,000 slokas to maybe Vaisampayana. Vaisampayana was also knowing this 1 lakh stories, 1 lakh slokas. He narrated 24 to Janamejaya, because they are already right people. Because when it has come down to a still lower level, the person who told Romaharshan was also knowing this 1 lakh stories. He explained this 24,000 slokas in an elaborate fashion like that. Traditionally, we feel. But there are some scholars, even now the present day scholars, they say that it is not actually written by Vedavyasa at all. There are some people, they are telling that some people tell it may be written down Vedavyasa only 8 only. Subsequently, there are so many persons have inserted many slokas in between medieval ages and all these things. But that traditional scholars don't accept that version, because we feel that, because we are having basically four types of Mahabharata books. We are having the North Indian Prati, we are having South Indian Prati, we are having, then Gorakhpur press people are there, then we are also having one more version, Kumbakonam Prati we are having, and then one university, that name I could not recollect immediately. All these places, there are 4 different versions. All the 4 different versions, the slokas, all these 1 lakh slokas, as it is, they are there, except a few places, a little variation is there. That is, people tell. Because I have, of course, I have not read all these 4 versions. I have read only the version of Gita Press only, because I can tell. The thing is that other person, there are the other pratis are there. No, other pratis, there are minor changes are there. That is why wherever that is told in Kumbakodam Press or Gita Press or North Indian Prati or the Southern Indian Prati, whatever you take, broadly all shlokas are going in the same sequence. Normally, which cannot happen, because if it is not, if it is actually in between, they have been inserted. Means there are some scholars of North India, they must have inserted some South India, some other shlokas must have been inserted. It is not like that. It is uniform only. Maybe here and there, very slight variations it is there. That too, patantaras, what we can call, the patantaras are also, they call it. That is why traditional scholars argue that it is actually written by Vedavyasa only. And while coming down, minor variations took place, and not necessarily that is actually in Mahabharatam. There is a lot of criticism is there. There are certain portions which are not written down by Vedavyasa, have been inserted in the 11th century when Saivism was in prominence, like that people tell. And there are similarly, there are Ramayanam also, Uttara Ramayanam is not written down. Even traditional scholars also believe that Uttara Ramayana was not written down by Valmiki, because the way the narrative line was going on by Valmiki, the values he was upholding were not there in Uttara Ramayana, like that. People tell you that we don't know all these things, because it is too much of great research we have to do. And Mahabharata, as far as Mahabharata is concerned, there is some sort of convergence in the views, so that all the 1 lakh stories were written by Vedavyasa only, because when it was being narrated in the so great country, in the populous country and also so big country, so here and there some minor changes took place, like that. So here I don't think that it is actually inserted by some later scholars, maybe in the middle of the 18th, it is called medieval ages and all this. Some persons have inserted some shlokas. I don't believe that has to be done. A big research only has to be done, sir. That is there.
Dhanyavad.
Okay, B.R. Simurti garu.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir.
Book or any online, this one for 8,800 Grandhi slokas in the vernacular or Telugu or anything in English.
Sir, online I too never searched, sir, to be frank, because what I can know is that they have been delineated and taken out from the original text of Mahabharata and put it by some scholars, like that. I can give the names of the scholars tomorrow. I can give some names. We have to search only, because whether what he has written down the 8,000 slokas, pure Mahabharata, it is there or not, we have to take out, sir. The names are there. There is Mahabharata Grantha Vimarsanamu, what is called books are there. In those books they have written down. Even Malladi Chandrasekhara Shastri sir also has written Mahabharata Vimarshanam, he has written down. There also he has mentioned what are those, who are the persons who wrote that one, 8,000 slokas. And also there are some other books are also there. 1 minute, if you can be on the line, means I will show the book. If the book is available, you can see it, sir. One minute, be on the line. Here only it is there. So this is the book Mahabharata Vimarsanamu. This is Balabhadra Patrani Hanumantaraya Sarma. This is in Telugu, of course. English audience may not be having access for it. And here, and this is 2 volumes it is written down. And Varanasi Subramanya Shastri has also written down Mahabharata Vimarsanam, he has written 6 volumes he has written. And there they have dealt with these type of questions. Normally the 8,000 who has written earlier. And this 8,000 books, this book, I think it is not there available in Amazon or any other place. This with great difficulty, I got it Xerox only. So like that, and this type of books, what will happen sometimes, and Mahabharata Vimarsanam of Varanasi Subramaniam Shastri sir book is available for us, it is available. Online also it is available, but these books are not available. These are written down in 1930s, this book is written down. So like that, there are some persons, great scholars, try to dig over Mahabharata, and then they much earlier to that. What I saw in this book, that is Mahabharata Vimarsanam, is that he has mentioned in some place that this 8,000 slokas was written down. One name I saw, that name I don't remember immediately. I can tell you tomorrow. That person has taken out and he has written down in 18th century. And so 18th century book, we may know it, or we may find it, or we may not find it. Let me try today. I will also see it. If at all it comes, if it is there online, something on that nature, I will tell you. Otherwise, you also can search it. That is also there. And if it is not there, and again we go back to the old traditional scholars, some scholars, and there we have to take out.
Rambabu garu. Rambabu.
సార్ నమస్కారం అండి.
నమస్తే సార్.
సార్ ఎప్పుడు నాకు వచ్చే డౌట్ ఇదే, ఇప్పుడు గరికపాటి గారు ఒక మహాభారతం చెప్తారు, ఆయన ఏదో చదివి.
Can we put the question in English, please?
Okay. So the point I was trying to ask you is, every interpreter of Mahabharatam, like you, like Gargapati, like Chaganti, everybody is giving a different version with their own intelligence and with their own research that has been done. What is the real source and what is the real source on which you depended to for talking, for giving this lecture? What is the difference between your source and somebody else's source? Which one we should believe? This is always my question. I read one place I read that Raja Dushyanta has ruled entire Bhumandalam, whereas you are saying that we are confined to only the present Bharat Desham, which is contradictory. Dushyanta has ruled entire Bhumandalam, including America, today's America. But the interpreters now say, no, we are confined only to Iran and Iraq and only up to this place. It is so, I get always confused with all these lectures. So please, I would like you to clarify.
What I can tell you is that is why only it has been written also, Yuktya Bharatam name. So you have to understand Mahabharata from Yukti only, from your own intellect and knowledge. But that is why what I advocate now, sir. The thing is that you can hear Garikapati, or you can hear Chaganti, or you can hear any great Pravaktas, Chandrasekhar Shastri sir, whoever it may be, Shalaka Raghunatha Sharma, all these persons we can listen. But thing is that sometimes the minute things will be there, no sir, whether he has ruled the entire world or whether he has ruled the entire country. Even I am also not sure. Why? Because in the particular storyline, original storyline, we have to go back. Maybe Veda Vyasa book only we have to go back and begin to read what exactly the particular wording is there, first of all. If you read that wording, then what we can know is and what exactly it is there. Then try to interpret with different other person's interpretations. Wherever we don't understand the things, you take the help of the interpretations, different interpretations given by different scholars, come to your own conclusion. Particularly, and you were asking about Garikapati, sir. Garikapati sir is more about what I believe is that he wanted to tell the storyline. At the same time, it is more for the purpose of the present day society situations and all this. He tried to interpret in that fashion. Maybe Chaganti, if you begin to listen, what he will be telling is that he is not interested in those type of things. He is actually interested in Adhyatmika things that is called in that perspective only he will be telling. Maybe that is why each person will be having some sort of internally his what is called mind is oriented to the certain areas. Some person may be oriented towards Ihaloka and all this. They wanted to enlighten the people. There are some people who want to enlighten some other type of audience. That is why which type of audience we belong to, that person we can listen and appreciate. But if you want to listen the original one, what we have to do is that you have to read the original story only. Then you only have to analyze which is correct, because there is entire ruled the entire world or entire America also and all these things are only Bhumandalam. Then in that case, Bharata Desham and all these things will not come into picture. So those type of things. And if you want to read means you have to read the original Bharata only. Then you have to try to understand, removing all misconceptions and all these things, making the mind as a blank one, and then go there, sit there, start reading. But it is very difficult to read 1 lakh shlokas. That is also there.
That's not bad.
That is there, sir. Because who will have the time to read 1 lakh shlokas, sir? No, it is not difficult.
And who will have the ability to interpret also?
That is all. At least translations are there, sir. Many translations are there. Some rely on some translations.
Sir, the translations are convoluted, sir. Even I came to know that even Nannaya has convoluted and wrote his own version and removed some of the important
Yes, sir.
parts from the
Yeah,
original
major parts
Mahabharata.
also he has taken out, sir. Very good,
Yeah.
very important ones he has taken out. It is not there. And that is why sometimes Tikana also has done the same thing. While translating, they have removed some places, the original version and the translation version will not match. That is why
Right.
original shloka you have to read, try to understand it on your own. Then the what is translation is there that you have to see. And then if you follow, at least some justification we will be doing for Mahabharata.
Thank you for the
Thank
nice explanation, sir. Thank you. And Shashikala garu?
Guruji, you have given some serial numbers against each parva. What does it represent, sir? When you are explaining each parva and the contents, some serial number is given 1 to 98. What does it denote?
I have to see, sir, what I have given. I 1 minute, I will see it. What is 1 to 98 I have given?
Yes, sir.
1 minute, 1 minute. This is a subparva, sir. Subparva means 1 minute. Yeah, I have seen. Subparva means actually each parva in Mahabharata we come across 100 parvas, sir. To be frank, 100 parvas are there. This 100 parvas means this is Astika parva they call it. Then Hidimbasara, that the Jatuka parva is there. That is the game of dice. The particular entire storyline is put in one parva. Instead of talking of 100 parvas, and again these 100 parvas are divided into 18 parvas again. And what we come across the books are no, this Adi Parva, Virat Parva, Adi Parva, Sabha Parva, Vana Parva, and all these are again consisting of a few parvas again. That is why originally 100 parvas. 100 parvas are again put into 18 parvas. They are actually some parvas are merged with one parva, and one book has come out. Say 8 like that, sir. That is why 100 series 119 and all this is, sir. Those 100.
Dhanyawad, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We will again continue tomorrow the discussion.
Yes, sir.
So today we will do Prarthana and then Janaganamana.
Yes.
Before we go to Prarthana and Janaganamana, there is a small announcement that is, I think Colonel Babu Gara can explain regarding the notes. I mean, it's not pertaining to this particular thing, particular class, but regarding the notes that people wanted to on all the classes that we have been conducting. I think we'll have it after the Janaganamana, Colonel Babu Gara.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Then we'll go with Prarthana.
Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Madhyena Mahimmahishaah Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Vashyatu Pajanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Kshobarahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayah Aputra Putrinas Santu Pautrinah Adhana Sadana Santu Jivantu Sharadam Shatam Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Akaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
ధన్యవాదములండి అనంతన్ గారు. Let us do Janaganamana by CC Babu garu.
Janaganamana Adhinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindhu Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Banga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हे
Chepandi Babu garu, you wanted to say something?
We can stop recording and then talk.
Yeah. Okay.